Good morning, County family. I am Dr. Erica Reynoso. I'm very happy to be here, presenting with my colleagues, John Satterfield, Yvonne Messian, and our team lead, Leticia McCorkle Amador. Although our presentation topic here, increasing placement of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer foster youth in safe, gender-affirming, and nurturing homes is special and important to all of us, I'd like to take a quick moment, if I may, to share with you as to why this topic is special. It has a special meaning to me. My partner and I recently completed the process and have been approved as resource parents through DCFS. Currently, we are awaiting placement of a child into our home for foster to adopt. My partner, 7-year-old son, and I and our dog are very excited about this. Wish us luck. Thank you for allowing me to share this great piece of news with you. Now on with our topic. Leticia, next slide, please. Did you know that across our nation, there are more than 400,000 youth in foster care, and that 40,000 or more youth are in care here in California? Next slide, please. Related to LGBTQ youth in foster care, the research shows us that they are overrepresented and that conservatively between 3 to 5% in the total foster care population identify as LGBTQ. Deeper dives into the research show us that over 30% of youth in foster care identify as LGBTQ and 5% identify as transgender. The primary goal of foster care. It is to secure placement to abused and or neglected children that will be in the child's best interest. This makes sense to all of us, right? Now, relating to LGBTQ youth in care, there have been increased attention, for good reasons, to their vulnerabilities, particularly vulnerable to stigma and bullying. And this, throughout our presentation, you will hear more from all of our team members. Next slide, please. In California, legislative protections for LGBTQ youth have continued to emerge, starting with a Senate Bill 537 from the year 2000, which prohibited discrimination and harassment on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. And in 2015, Senate Bill 3731 was passed, giving foster youth the right to be placed according to their gender identity, regardless of their sex assigned at birth. Now, if you'd like to read more or learn more about these protections, we offered this one-pager for you, and we'd be happy to continue to be a resource. Next slide, please. Given this recognition to support and protect this population, I'm going to take this moment to share with you our project's chief goal, and that is to increase awareness, identify needs, and help build upon systems or programs within Los Angeles County that support LGBTQ foster youth feel safe, supported, and affirmed while they are in care and as they transition out from it. Following me, John and Yvonne will build upon this goal, and Leticia will discuss our group's proposal to meet this goal. So I'd like you all to keep that in mind if you would. There are many challenges LGBTQ youth face, along with vulnerabilities as they enter the foster care system, such as homophobia and transphobia. While in care, they are often less likely to achieve permanency, and compared to their non-LGBTQ counterparts, they often suffer more vulnerabilities. Next slide, please. So it is pretty well known that negative outcomes are the most dire across the foster care continuum in general. So I'd like you to take a look at the slide and take it in and just think of the general foster care continuum. So although that may be well known, and what we want to build more awareness upon is the high prevalence rates of bullying and housing instability that is prevalent among our population. One large study from the Williams Institute at UCLA cites that over 90% of students make negative comments based on sexual orientation, and almost 50% of students said their schools were not safe for LGBTQ students. High rates of verbal harassment and problems in school related to prejudice and discrimination were also found. Thank you. Besides these vulnerabilities to bullying and cyberbullying, LGBTQ is particularly vulnerable to bullycide. And I want you to think about this term, remember it. It refers to intentional tormenting of gay students that results in their suicides as an avenue of escape. So, folks, we see the big indicators and consequences around this population. This slide just serves to demonstrate this vulnerability, in which we see 30% of completed suicides by foster care LGBT youth, and 45% of youth reporting seriously considering attempting suicide. Finally, another big vulnerability and negative outcome, which this population is especially vulnerable to, is housing instability or homelessness. Shown here are negative realities for foster youth in general. The research indicates that the housing crisis situation among LGBTQ foster youth is that much more bleak, with 40% or more. And I say or more because different research studies cite different things. Within 18 months of emancipation, LGBT foster youth are found to be homeless. Of the total homeless population, 50% have identified as being former foster care, having former foster care histories. Apologize for that. And 65% of foster youth require immediate housing support upon their discharge, upon re-entering after the foster care system. So I have presented negative outcomes and vulnerabilities for LGBT foster youth population. My colleague John will share more about specific challenges, but we will get to positive outcomes, resilience, and offering support, I promise. Turning it over to you, John. Thank you.
In almost 32 years with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, until our team began researching this issue, I personally had no idea this was even a problem. That fact alone supports the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommendation regarding the importance of bringing attention to this issue in the form of greater education and training. As mentioned, national data confirms LGBTQ plus children and youth experience serious adversity and face significant disparities in physical and mental health outcomes, including higher rates of suicide, homelessness, negative encounters with police, verbal harassment, physical violence, bullying. When asked what foster parents and professionals can do to help LGBTQ plus youth feel safe in their care, what can we do to help you feel safe? Many of the youth cite acknowledging their desired pronouns, respecting their thoughts and emotions, affirming their feelings are natural. Doing so increases the feeling of safety and allows the youth to view the guardian as a trusted individual. Research shows LGBTQ plus teens face negative treatment from at least one source, such as parents, other family, peers, service providers, and foster family. Providing data-driven training and education for foster parents focused on best practices for LGBTQ plus youth's mental and physical well-being. An example of these would be simply using the desired name and pronouns that align with the child's gender identity, taking action against intolerance whenever it's identified, education. Research overwhelmingly shows the leading supportive action a foster family can take is simply acceptance of their youth after they identify as LGBTQ plus. At school, teachers, administrators, coaches, peer students, and friends' parents can aid in creating trust and safety. Even if they do not have extensive experience in dealing with, specifically with LGBTQ plus youth, as long as they are willing to seek understanding of these issues and be an advocate on the youth's behalf, that goes a long way. Next slide, please. Law enforcement training currently includes issues such as current laws and how law enforcement can respond effectively to domestic violence and hate crimes involving sexual orientation, gender identity, minority. But there is much room for improvement. Family rejection often occurs with many LGBTQ plus children and youth and can be displayed in hitting, slapping, physically hurting, verbal harassment, name calling, exclusion from family activities, blocking access to friends, victim blaming, pressuring to be more masculine or more feminine or less masculine, less feminine, telling them that God will punish them. That seems to be recurring in literature a lot when we study this. Leaders should engage with community members to identify safe spaces where children and youth can spend time being supported and nurtured. Over 50% of LGBTQ plus youth surveyed indicated they are motivated to help others who identify as LGBTQ plus. In order for this manner of peer support to flourish, safe spaces must exist, which allow kids to build community. There are existing laws which protect children and youth in foster care, but monitoring enforcement remain an issue. And I'll turn it over to Ivan.
So during our research, our group did realize that the county does have a program in place in which DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, serves as the lead agency. And so what we're hoping to achieve is build upon what we already have and provide some hopefully helpful improvements, solutions, and insights. And we also just want to highlight the relevance and importance of our proposition. Why does this matter? According to research in a 2014 study, it was found that 19% of our LA County foster youth ages 12 and 21 identify as LGBTQ+. So really, whatever improvements we do does have and make a significant impact. Next slide, please. So we looked into what and where could the problems lie and noted down what we thought were 4 major issues. And they are training staff to better understand LGBTQ+ communities and confront inequities, the lack of services that serve LGBTQ+ foster youth, the lack of experience that serve LGBTQ+ foster youth, and dedicated resources for the program. Next slide, please. So based on those issues, how do we get there? Our group, we develop overarching general strategies for us to consider that we think could provide some solutions and ultimately achieve our project's chief goal, which are increasing the training and support to our partner SPA, service planning areas, agencies, and county departments, improving the referral process through a streamlined, targeted approach, developing a database of available grants, funding, and/or resources. So in terms of strategy 1, increasing the training support, so our thought process was really the SPA agencies and partners are important partners. These are third-party agencies that help us with our mission. So we want to study and analyze their effectiveness and identify capability gaps. We also want to see how we can provide further training and technical support, and then also leverage county resources and develop further partnerships and relationships. Our second strategy, improving the referral process. Our thought process was, the county needs to capture and collect and analyze these referral data. We have mountains of data that we can analyze and improve upon. We can identify bottlenecks within the process and develop solutions that could address pain points. One of our observations, like the current referral forms, we do have them. They're fillable, but they're not dynamic. And instructions are lengthy and there's no direct submission capability. So I think we could also improve upon the design and making it web-based and interactive. Maybe also complement with flowcharts illustrating the entire process, and then socializing this through the website and other mediums like social media campaigns. Next slide, please. In our third and final strategy, developing a database of available grants, funding, and resources. Program implementation costs. This program will be expensive. It will cost money. So we want to monitor and track funding and resources in real time. And we want to create that comprehensive database so we can have a wide-ranging sources of funding, including program and technical assistance resources. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Leticia for our final portion of our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so wow, that was a lot of information on this human rights issue. Erica addressed, the need and the why with insightful data and statistics and her own personal story. John enlightened us with the challenges that the foster youth face every day. And Ivan just highlighted what the county is doing and how, as a team and a group, we all saw that they could do more and do some more improvement. And after all that, what can we say? We know the statistics, we know personal story, we know the challenges. What exactly can we say after that as a team? Let's do more. This is what we're saying. We're saying, let's do more. There's some things out there, but we need to do more. Here's one statistic that California is one of only 13 states that has policies in place to protect foster youth harassment and discrimination. Honestly, even though we are only one of 13, we still need to do more. And how do we see us doing more? One of the things, as some of my teammates and group members mentioned, is about having a campaign and outreach. Most of us, when we talked, besides Erica, who was kind of our subject matter expert, we didn't know about these issues and actually how to start. Like, how do we actually get out here and help? So this is actually our first step in a part of that campaign, is to make everyone awareness. Our goal is to increase the number of gender affirming homes for LGBTQ plus youth. And that starts with you, everyone here in this meeting. So we're getting out the word now through our presentation. So you already know the needs, you know the challenges, and you know some of the strategies that we are suggesting that LA County improve upon. So what is the more? The campaign is going to be centered around more social media. I've been seeing more, like, let's say the youth, young people are out there on social media, the TikToks, all the social media apps. Maybe the county needs to be more engaged in where the people are and where they're getting information and communication. Also media partnerships, there could be billboards and print campaigns, and also the county department partnership. One of the ideas that we were thinking about when we were like, how can we actually do more and help more? I know that the people in my department are probably not going to be happy that I'm recommending us to help do more, because, that means someone else is going to have to do more work. And as Ivan mentioned, cost money, right? But one of the out of the box ideas I thought about was, when would people start to think about wanting to build a family or start a family? And I thought in my department, we do marriages, right? We conduct marriages. I'm thinking, what a perfect place for people who are in love and starting to think about a new family is at the registrar's office, right? I work down in Norwalk, and on a regular basis on the elevator, I'm always meeting some young couple who are madly in love and going to get their marriage license or certificate. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if there was that social media campaign, the print and board campaign, that we handed out a flyer with every marriage certificate, to say, hey, do you know about the fostering youth in LA County, and specifically for the LGBTQ plus community? So that's just one of the ideas that we came up with out of the box. How can we do more on top of what the county is already doing? Another thing would be, and I know this has been very difficult because I've seen other training about adding this to the county mandatory training, that we have over 100,000 county employees. If we can reach them in a more direct way, they could be an ambassador to the county about this program, because this is a human rights issue like we do here in the county. So to end and conclusion of our group, this is not like, I just threw this together because I said, you know what, this is going to be our first step in increasing awareness. And that's with everybody here in the meeting. So I created here, this number here, 888-811-1121 is actually the phone number to DCFS if you're interested in becoming a foster parent or a resource family. So if this presentation has done anything to have one family or one person here who's interested, then I think we're in the right direction.